Hi guys, welcome to another video. Who in their right mind would turn down 5 quota bags from Hermes? Who even does that? Are you not absolutely just throwing away the biggest opportunity in the luxury world? Which bags did I turn down? Why did I turn them down? And what consequences did it bring for me? Let's get going. So I have done a very similar video to this, but it's from a long time ago and it's so terrible. It is so terrible. So I'm refilming it because nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to see that. I was very new to YouTube, so forgive me for it. So I'm going to refilm this because I just thought it was a really interesting subject, bearing in mind that my journey with Hermes has now changed. Now, my Hermes journey has changed over the last couple of years, 2 to 3 years. But prior to that, I was offered and bought 7 bags from Hermes. And when I say 7 bags, I mean quota bags. I mean wish list bags. I don't mean the Evelyn or the Picatinny, although I've ended up with an Evelyn. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But I managed to get 7 Hermes bags over a period of about 3 years, and that was a little while ago. But within that 3 years, I was also offered a further 5 quota or wish list bags, and I turned those down. So let's go through them, and there is one that is it's a bit of a cheat. It's anyway, I'll explain when we come to that because I sort of had to turn it down. I'll explain. We'll come on to that later. So the first one I want to talk about is I turned down a Birkin Cellier version in Epsom leather, and I think it was called the Duo, and this bag was so rare. It was, I'll try and find a picture of it. It's really hard to find anything like it, and even to this day I think, what on earth were you thinking? But I did turn down this Cellier bag that was in the size 25, and it was one where if you can see the front of the Birkin, let's just grab this one. So it was like this but in the Cellier version, but down the middle it had a split, and this side was one colour and this side was another colour. And it's an insanely rare bag. And I think when he offered me when my sales associate offered me it, I think he just thought he was giving me something really special, and I just didn't like it. So why on earth did I turn it down? Well, firstly, the colour, it was 2 very beigey colours, very neutral. And now I do like my neutrals, but I'm not a beige lover. I love greys, I love blacks, I love blues, I love certain greens, I love purple. I don't love beige. And I remember one of the colours being biscuit, and I cannot remember what the other colour was. I don't know if it was chai, or it was one of those types of colours that were both very similar to each other. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I also wasn't overly keen on the Cellier Birkin. And I know loads of people love it, and I know it's really rare, and I know it commands a lot on the resale market. But for the Birkin, I like the retourné style. I like Togo leather. I like Clemence leather. I like a little bit of slouch. And that was just... I think if you're going for Epsom leather, if you're going for a Cellier, a very structured bag, I think for me personally it just suits the Kelly a little bit more than the Birkin. So I turned that down. I don't know what I was thinking. I literally could have bought that and sold it for a fortune. That was never in my head. Never entered my head that I could do that or should do that. I didn't like the bag, and I know they're so expensive, and I didn't want to get it wrong and make a mistake. So yeah, that's the first one I turned down that I want to talk to you about. Actually, I'm telling you something that isn't true here. The first bag that I ever turned down actually wasn't a quota bag, it was an Evelyn. And that was when I went into the London store for the very first time ever. And I got chatting to the sales associate, and I asked him if I was ever in the market for a Birkin or a Kelly. Could he just explain what the system was and that type of thing? And he asked me what my preference would be, and I said Greta Tan, Kelly 28 returning Togo with palladium hardware, and I ended up getting that bag 4 weeks later. But anyway, that is a different story. But on that occasion, he said, have you ever seen Greta Tan in the flesh? And I said no. And he said, wait there. And he came out with an Evelyn in the Greta Tan, and he said, I can offer you this bag today. And I was like, oh my God, he's literally offered me a bag. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the Evelyn. Now, I do like the Evelyn now. I actually own, just grab it from here. I actually own the Evelyn 29 in the gold colour. And this is in Clemence leather, and it is a fabulous bag, absolutely fabulous. And I've only just got that very recently from New York. But the one that he offered me back in the day, Greta Tan, absolutely tick, 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 love that colour. But it was in Epsom leather. Now, I do like Epsom leather, but I like it on the Constance, I like it on the Kelly if it's the Cellier version, because it's a very structured leather. On the Evelyn, it didn't suit it. It was really stiff. The bag just sort of hung off me. Getting things in and out, you're scratching your hand. It was just too structured a leather for that style. And I just thought, if I say no to this bag when this sales associate is literally, it's our first ever conversation, he will never even entertain me, because I'd heard all the stories of pre-spend and having to do this, and I was never willing to do that. So I did walk away thinking, if I say no to this bag, then that's my journey over before it's begun. But I don't like that bag, and I don't want to waste my money. And so I said to him, I'm really sorry, and I just explained it's just not for me. And he said, wait for the right one. And 4 weeks later, he came up with the right one, so it was fine. So the consequences of that one was absolutely nothing. I think he actually respected me for not just buying it. So yes, so my apologies, that wasn't a wish list item, that was an Evelyn. I was on the hunt for a Constance 24 in black Epsom leather with gold hardware. I subsequently got that bag. I have subsequently sold that bag. Anyway, before that happened, when I put my wish down, because it was a wish list item at that point, the Constance, and when I put my wish down, my sales associate said it might take a little while to get one, and I said it's absolutely fine. And then I think it was literally a week later or 2 weeks later, I got a call that was, we have one, it just doesn't have gold hardware, it has lizard hardware. And he sent me a photo of it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I liked the gold hardware. Much as I do like lizard, I do. But on this bag, I don't know, I didn't love it. And I just knew any even touch of exotic, even if it's lizard, is so expensive. It is so expensive in Hermes. And I just thought, no, I'd already turned the other one down and it hadn't affected anything. So I just said to him, I'm really sorry. I really appreciate you offering me it. I would just ask, can I wait for the one that I really, really want? And he was absolutely. So that is another one that I turned down. I did. And it was very beautiful. I never even asked the price. I'm sure it was extortionate. In a minute, I'm going to tell you about the one that's sort of a cheat, because I had to turn it down, but I will explain. But before that, I'm going to tell you about another one that I turned down that, again, you might think I'm absolutely crazy. So my sales associate, who was amazing, was leaving, and he said he was going to pass me over to another gentleman who was going to look after me. And therefore I was, oh my goodness, trying to get to know the new associate, to build a relationship like I'd had with the previous one. I don't live near London. It was all going to be difficult. And I did wonder at that point if my Hermes journey would be over. And it wasn't. But I didn't know that at the time. Anyway, I was passed over. I had a couple of emails with this new gentleman, and he seemed very lovely. And he said, oh, what was on your wish list? Because it wasn't a wish list like that then. You just used to email and they'd make a note of it and that type of thing. And I said, I really want an Etoupe Birkin 30 in Togo leather. And he was like, okay. And I said, oh, the other thing I would be interested in is a red Birkin, but it'd have to be sort of more on the darker side. Anyway, a few weeks later, I got an email that said, I've got a Birkin 30 in Novillo leather, which I hadn't heard of, and it's in a colour called geranium. And it is a red, but it's not a dark red, it's like an orangey red. So I'm googling and trying to find, in fact, weirdly, we're at my staff, my office, we're at the staff Christmas party when I got the email. So me and my friend, who was a fellow luxury lover, we were googling and trying to just decide if it was one that I should say yes to. And again, it was a real bright orangey red, and it just, all the photos, and I thought, I haven't seen it in the flesh, and I just turned it down. I just thought, no, I don't love it. So I actually said to him, I really appreciate it, but I think I'm going to wait for the Etoupe. And he was like, Etoupe is so hard to come by, it might be. I was like, it doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter. And he said, absolutely fine. And that was, as I say, that was just before Christmas. And I thought, I have blown it. This guy has literally just taken me on as a client. He's offered me a bag immediately, and I've said no. So that'll be the end of me. And literally 3 weeks later, I got the email that the Birkin Etoupe in size 30 was available. So consequences again were nothing, absolutely nothing. I have no regrets of that. I do think the geranium colour is just too bright for me. I just don't know how I would wear it. Quick story about the fourth bag that I have turned down at Hermes, a quota bag. So this was when I called in. I was with my family. My daughter and my husband had disappeared off to do some shopping elsewhere. I think they were bored of waiting for me in Hermes because I seemed to be in there quite a while. And my eldest daughter stayed with me. Then my husband and youngest daughter came back to meet us there, and then we were leaving. And I was just looking at a couple of things. I didn't buy anything, and I think I was just talking about putting my wish list down for the Constance at the time. I think that's what we're doing. Anyway, I was saying goodbye to my sales associate, and my youngest daughter, who isn't that young, but my youngest daughter piped up, "Are you not buying a bag today, Mum?" And I just literally went because if anybody knows anything about Hermes, you know that it isn't that easy. So you can't just go in and buy a bag. So I was sort of saying to her, no, it sort of doesn't work like that, Grace. You have to sort of put your name on a wish list. And she was like, oh, I thought you'd be buying something today. And my sales associate thought it was really funny because he was lovely, and he, you know, it was like a funny moment. And so he took me to the side and he said, I do have a couple of Birkin 35s if you do want to have a look, and I can offer you one of them today. And I just thought, oh my goodness. And I thought, Grace, yes. So for my daughter, I thought, bless her. Yeah, although I felt really embarrassed for a millisecond, she helped me out there. But I just was not in the market for a Birkin 35. I already had a Birkin 35, and I knew that it would be the only one that I would ever have because it's too big, it's too heavy. So, and also I wasn't spending at that point in time because I put the wish list for the Constance. I didn't know when that would come, so I was not going to spend anything on something I didn't want. So again, I politely declined. So I have no idea what colours he had available because I just didn't ask. And I should have asked just to be nosy, but I didn't want to waste his time. It was so busy in the store as well. And I wasn't buying anything. I just didn't want to waste his time. So yeah, so I did turn down the opportunity because whichever it was, I would have been able to buy. So yeah, I did turn that down. So the one that I am sort of alluding to the fact that it's a little bit of a cheat is I did turn down a Birkin 30 in gold. So in this colour, in gold with contrast stitching. But the reason I'm saying it's a bit of a cheat is I turned it down because I had the choice of the Birkin 30 in gold or this, which is the Birkin 30 in blue onk. So again, I've talked about this one quite a lot. I was actually after a black Birkin, and he said, I haven't got one just at the minute, but I can offer you the two that I've got in is this one and one in gold. And so I had the opportunity to choose between them, and for me there was no question it was this one. Absolutely no question. I wasn't loving gold at that point in time, although I'm growing to love it, but I don't want a Birkin in gold. I just don't think I would use it as much as some of the other colours. So yes, I turned it down, as in I was offered the opportunity to buy a Birkin 30 in gold. But I wouldn't be buying two, so if I turn that one down, I then would be saying that I'd turn this one down if I'd taken the other one. So it's a little bit of a cheat because it wasn't an offering that I just walked away from. It was a choice between the two, but it was really, really kind of him to offer me the choice of two, because you don't normally have that either. So I was just really, really happy. Obviously went for the blue onk. I have absolutely no regrets whatsoever. So yeah, in total I've turned down 5 Hermes bags in that period of 3 to 4 years, I think it was. And at the same time I bought 7 Hermes bags that were all quota or wish list bags. So I've been offered a lot in that period, and then in the last 2.5, nearly 3 years, I've been offered nothing. So since I actually got this one in March 22, I have not been offered anything, and the reason that I haven't is all in this video here. Go and watch that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another one.